Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night Mayhem, brought to you live on YouTube, courtesy of MRL Broadcasting. And we are proud to bring you to the final elimination race. The Great Eight, the Elite Eight, is about to become the Final Four. I'm Mean Gene Money. I've got Zach Panzarella here, and we are live at Richmond Raceway, about to do battle and see who the Final Four will be. Zach, how are you feeling, my man?
I'm nervous for these guys, but I'm so excited to be here. I'm so stoked it's came down to this, Mean Gene. We are so lucky. We're in for a treat. We have so many guys out here that not only could make it to this Final Four, but could then win the championship next week. Man, anything can happen today. And at a track like Richmond, where skill, but also the unpredictability it brings us, we really couldn't ask for a better track to give us our Final Four, Mean Gene.
I'll tell you what. The last three races going into this elimination race, Darlington, last week at Atlanta, today at Richmond, has drawn all of these drivers closer and closer together. Last week, we were at Atlanta and we saw Jax Duvall punch his ticket to the Final Four. The Florida man himself, but Zach, that win did not come without a little bit of controversy.
No, it did not. Jax Duvall making contact with David Owens on the exit of 4, with Owens leading the race, a teammate of his. We thought they were working together, but the last thing I said before it happened, Mean Gene, was watch Jax Duvall here, and look what happened. He turned him around. He says it was unintentional, but we'll see how David Owens feels about that, and it certainly came with this controversy, but I don't blame Jax at all, because that's what comes with super speedway racing on a track like Atlanta, and it definitely delivered on the just absolute mayhem that we got at that track.
Yeah, I mean, the green, white, yellow, sure. But what happened right before that? We saw MC Motorsports in a position to push one of their top drivers, Matthew Fritz, into the Final Four. Fritz and Parham, right up, they led the last 23 laps up until that point, and then all of a sudden, wha-bam! Jax Duvall gets up underneath Parham, 100 yards from the start-finish line to take the white flag, causes an accident. Duvall got underneath him, looked like a Georgia State trooper, putting a pit maneuver on a drunk driver. Hey, how you doing out there, Uncle Joe? Little shout out to my uncle. He knows what I'm talking about. And then there's a caution, and then bada bing, bada boom, the restart. Owens gets in front of Jax Duvall. And then, hey, have you ever been to Florida? Because he took both those guys way down in the swamp.
Yes, he did. Oh, my goodness. That was probably the most dramatic moment of our entire season. Parham getting to the bottom right at the perfect moment to help his teammate. His teammate that's been so close to a win all season has been there. And to get him to the round of 8, and with this checkered flag in sight, Parker Kligerman style, what we saw earlier in the Xfinity Series in real NASCAR, just like that. Just so close, but not quite there. And that set the stage for our final restart, which got even crazier. But man, I can't imagine how Fritz felt, because if you look at our standings right there on screen, from going to guaranteed to being our Final Four to negative 23, only 5 points out from being in the championship, but nonetheless, it was right there. But that just goes to show how brutal racing can be sometimes.
Speaking of brutal, look at the guy down there at the bottom, 8th place, Michael Mata. This guy, he's just had a rough 2 weeks. I mean, he got into it early at Atlanta, put him in a lap down, but then he ran the rest of the way with his teammates pushing them at Atlanta. He had a fast car, just had that one little incident last week kind of taking him out of the running. And the week before, Zach, the guy's in 2nd place at Darlington, and he DC's going across the start-finish line. I mean, what else could happen to this guy? Is he going to get kidnapped and probed by aliens tonight?
I mean, that's pretty much the only thing left to happen. I could not feel worse for the things that have happened to Mata.
I got it on my bingo card.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair assumption to make, Mean Gene. It's just been a series of unfortunate events for that guy. Someone who definitely deserves to be in a much better point situation than he is. Probably can add 20 points to that of what he should have with that DC that you were talking about, that disconnect with 1 lap to go. Man, the white flag has not been kind to a lot of people in this league, this round of 8. But if you look at our times there, I'm going to go ahead and put Jax Duvall on blast here. Looking at the differential, I think he just Ross Chastained it like he loves to do at these short tracks and give himself a good practice lap time. But if you look at David Cook and Michael Mata, I believe, who are actually our 2 fastest cars, because their times are very, very close together, That's a great sign for Michael Mata to have that speed here.
Yeah, I did get to talk to David Owens right after the incident that he had with Jacques Duvall, and really all he had to say. That was about all he had to say. But I'll tell you what we can do, Zach. Let's go ahead and just pull David Owens right on down and see what he actually has to say about that series of events. Let's fool him, though. Let's pretend we're just going to talk about today, and then we can torpedo him with last week.
Love it. We have a minute till qualifying starts, so maybe we can get him emotional right when his qualifying starts.
David Owens, you got the booth up here. Can you hear us, buddy?
I got you loud and clear.
Big day for the 11 team, man. You're out here. I'm not going to say you need a win to get in, but when you're out there with Buddy Sully and Tony Iverson as your big competitors, how much pressure are you feeling today?
Can we measure that? I'm not sure we can.
Yeah, I got empirical data right here. I can pile that right up.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. Both of them fast guys. I've been very fast all season as well. I'm lucky to even be here in the hunt, even being talked for a championship with 0 wins this season.
Well, very humble of you to say that, David. You're talking about no wins, but you are one of the all-time, if not the all-time, MRL winner. But the league is just growing and growing. We're getting faster drivers out here, as well as the drivers that are homegrown, just getting faster. I see, though, right now you're 4th as far as the practice goes. Do you feel better about the short run or the long run here on this track?
Definitely the long run is going to be where I'm more comfortable.
Well, that'll be really fascinating to see. What do you got, Zach?
We're going to ride on board with you for your qualifying session, if that's okay, Owens. Do you want us to leave you alone, or do you want to talk us through it?
I prefer quietness.
Yes. So we will get you out of here, but we'll be on board with you. Tell me,
Thank you, sir.
Tell me real quick, what's your focus here in quali? What's your line? What are you going for?
Not to start last.
Good idea, man.
I know I don't have to run. Yeah, I don't have the speed to put it on pole, but something consistent, something up front, top 5, hopefully.
Good luck.
All right, right there, master class on driving. You heard it first from David Owens. Don't start last. Good luck out there, David.
Thank you, sir.
So we're gonna do a little mixed variation.
How do you feel about Jacques Duvall smashing you on the restart? All right, here we go. Look at this.
As we have him, a lot of drivers like doing this lately. You let the car, and there's nothing wrong with this, but you let the car burn a little bit of gas. It lightens it up a little bit. And here he goes.
Is that what he's doing?
That was, I think, probably letting the car burn a tiny bit of gas, and that was some good tire warming. David Owens, look at this, already warming his tires. That's a good idea to short track like this. And watching him do this, Mean Gene, this tells me that his hot lap is probably lap number 2. Because it looks like he's kind of willing to throw away this first one. So here's what you do. You go all the way to the wall, Mean Gene, and then you dip it down hard. Full throttle. Here he goes. So you guys will be surprised by how early you let off here. Probably about right here. There it is. Very, very early off throttle here at Richmond. That's how you save tires, but weirdly, that's also how you're fast on the short runs. You really got to be patient here. It's not a short track like Martinsville where you just attack the corners. And here is proof right here that David Owens is going for a second lap, hot lap, as he's throwing away that first lap by taking the hot line, or the high line. And here he goes. This one's for all the marbles. He's going to go pretty deep into this, I'm assuming. A shift down to 4th and a little bit loose there, Mean Gene. That's going to cost him. He did not get to the bottom. You really want to get to the bottom of this track and hug that yellow line. And that time he does a little bit early of a shift. I think David Owens' objective to not start last is not looking great right now as he puts down a 22.511. Not actually a bad lap at all. So far, we got Alex Hillman staying on the pole, but not a bad lap from Owens from honestly how badly I believe he missed the marks that he actually wanted there.
No, but the way you're talking about it, it seems like if he could have hit that one spot you identified, who knows, that could have been that, 3/100ths of a second?
Absolutely. You couldn't be more right about that. That time was clearly there for Owens. It was just a matter of hitting his marks. And it's so hard when you're qualifying, you're going for that extra time. And you're doing things that you're probably not going to even be willing to do in the race itself. But nonetheless, a good lap. And oh my goodness, are you seeing how close Buddy Sully just was to Alex Hillman as well? We got some close time so far as we're...
Yeah, very excited to see exactly how this thing is going to turn out. Ooh, and we got a new pole sitter. Look at that, the 71 Chevrolet of David Cook. He just laid down a hot one.